In this video, a few tips about working with the one-axis sweep mesh fusion assembly. If you press F6, then you have your presets, you have your assemblies, item assemblies, mesh fusion assemblies, and then it's this one. So first I'm going to clear my scene, press Ctrl W, I'm going to double click the one-axis sweep, and this is what gets important as a mesh assembly. First of all, in order to learn more about these profile sweeps, I suggest you also check out this video on Vimeo, on Modo Geeks TV. This is the address. So it's a video, MF profile sweep 12, weighted poly, and so on. And if I open this, so it's the MF profile sweep 12, weighted poly beveling video by Daryl Anderson. I suggest you check that out. But in this video I'm going to give, as I said, a few pointers about editing the components of this assembly. After having imported that assembly, when you go to your item list, then you see a group locator fusion sweep. If you open that, then you have your procedural sweep and your sweep profile. Now your profile sweep profile, as it's called, is actually a polygon, but it's not visible as a polygon, but it has independent draw on. So when you select it and go to your item properties, you have your display and you have your draw options. And because when you press the O key, when active meshes, you have enable independent drawing, and inactive meshes also enable independent drawing, that polygon is only being drawn as a wireframe. So this is a simple polygon. If I go to component mode vertices, you see that I have 4 vertices selected. And they're also showing vertex weight map values. So if I press the O key and go to active meshes, you see that I have show weight values checked. When you check it, you have your weight values. And then I can also mention that there is a weight map, and I'm going to go to my maps, drag it in here. You see fusion bevel. If I deselect it, you see that all vertices, the values are 0. If I select that fusion bevel, you see that they have a value of 100%. When I go to item mode, you also have this widget. So when I hover over the red one, and first maybe deselect the fusion bevel, hover over the red one, click on it, you see that the fusion bevel weight map gets selected automatically. Now I'm going to quickly cover the profile sweep mesh, which is the procedural. So if I unhide that, you see that I have a procedural mesh. When I go to my mesh operations up here, it does a merge meshes of the polygon, and then it does a vertex bevel with a weight map fall off. And you see in its properties that weight map fall off has that fusion bevel weight map selected. And it also operates on a selection set which is called bevel. So if I go to my profile sweep profile, go to vertex mode, you see that you have a quick select. And there is that selection set. If you click it, you see that all the vertices of the original polygon belong to that selection set. I'm going to go back to my procedural mesh. Going to close my vertex bevel. Then you have your curve extrude, and then you have a set polygon type Catmull-Clark, and then you have that as a result. And in the following section I'm going to show you a few pointers how you can edit that polygon to get a more interesting shape. So first of all, I'm going to select my polygon, so the profile sweep profile, and go to over my widget to the green lower portion and click on it in items mode, and then I get my user channels. And first I'm going to uncheck everything, in which case the extrusion happens on the polygon, but none of the vertices actually have been beveled. Now when you check enable vertex bevel, again nothing will get beveled. It is differently in the 3-axis sweep, so in the 3-axis sweep this does make a difference when you enable vertex bevel, because then a bevel will be performed, but not with the 1-axis sweep. Now if I check use vert bevel weights, now a difference will occur, because now the polygon is first being beveled. So if you go to your profile sweep mesh and open that again, the vertex bevel, which operates on weight map fall off and can also be modulated by a selection set, is now being performed with my and actually select this one, the polygon. So now it is being beveled, and I can also set or check use bevel on set, but you won't see much of a difference, because when I go to component mode, vertices mode, do a quick select of the selection set, you see that all polygons, all vertices belong to that set. I also have to make sure that my Fusion bevel weight map is selected, so I can do that in the list, or if I unselect it here, then in items mode I can click on the red square over here, and then my Fusion bevel weight map also is being selected. So back to vertex mode. So you see that the vertices initially have a value of 100. So if I press Shift W now, press Ctrl D to reset my vertex map weight tool, and click and drag in the viewport, now I can set the weight for these vertices, just like that. I can also edit this polygon. So if I activate the add point tool and for instance control click to add a point in the middle, now you see that a point has been added. It is being extruded, but it's not being beveled, and that is because use bevel on set has been checked. So if I uncheck it, now you see a bevel does occur, and it also already has a weight. I think this has to do with the fact that the vertices in between already have a weight, and then that vertex is being copied with that weight. So if I want it to have no weight or another weight, Shift W again, Control D to reset the tool, then click and drag, and then of course, then again I can modulate the weight. An important thing to note is that this vertex that I have added manually does not belong to the selection set. So if I check use bevel on set, you see that that bevel disappears. That's important to note. So if I do a quick select of the bevel on, you see that that vertex has not been selected. I can of course add it to the set if I so want to. So with that vertex selected, click add to sets, and now the bevel is being performed. Also when I uncheck use bevel on set. Just like that. So if I delete it from the set and I say use bevel on set, then the bevel does not occur. If I uncheck use bevel on set, now the bevel does occur. I like to keep this on because it allows me to have vertices that belong to the bevel on set and others that do not. So quick select bevel on set, now this does not belong to it, and then I get a different result. So if I pull this up for instance, then that is my result. Press Shift W, Control D. Now the weighting will have not much of an influence because it does not belong to my bevel on set. And again, if I do add it to the set, now I have a bevel, and now the weighting does matter. Just like that. Now, with previous experiments, I've encountered a few problems, and that has to do with the beveling. Sometimes you may get an artifact, and I prefer when I go to my profile and I'm going to close my vertex bevel to add a merge vertices after the vertex bevel. So I'm going to add one, and I'm going to say merge vertex merge, and in the distance, in the properties, I'm going to set this to a very small distance of 1, very small, and I've experienced that this can resolve problems if you're editing the polygon. So add a vertex merge after the vertex bevel with a very small distance. Can resolve problems. Okay, so now if I, for instance, add some loops, yeah, and I can't because I have working with an n-gon right now. So if I press the C key for my edge slice and shift click like that, then I should make sure to delete these edges. So shift backspace. And again, in vertex mode, when I do a quick select of my selection set, you see those newly created vertices, they do not belong to the set. And since I have checked use bevel on set, they are not being beveled. Again, if I uncheck it, they are being beveled. Use bevel on set, they are not being beveled. Another important setting, of course, is the bevel inset. So this is how much your bevel is going to be inset. I'll set it to 20. And your round level, of course. Just like that. And I think I have covered most of what I wanted to cover. So you see, it is absolutely no problem to make an n-gon out of this. So if I do add point and shift click over here, now select that edge, Z key, click in the viewport and activate my move tool, going to move it over here. Again, shift backspace to delete that one, going back to vertex mode. Quick select bevel on. You see that again those points have not been added to my selection set. Now I definitely want to add these ones, for instance, so add to set. Now they are being beveled. Shift W, Control D to reset my vertex map weight, and then I can modulate with the weight, just like that. Maybe I want to add these also, so add to set, and quick select bevel on. But now they have been added, but they have 0 weight, so Shift W, Control D to reset the tool, click and drag, just like that. So I can set it really sharp with a really low weight. You see the beveling. I'm going to turn on my the verts are visible. Okay, just like that. So in this way, with just editing a simple polygon, you can create really interesting shapes. And if you use the bevel on set, that gives you extra power, like I've shown you. So I have vertices that do not belong to the set. These ones do not belong to the set. So if I move them over there, then these vertices, since they do not belong to the set, they are not being beveled. And this can result in a really smooth transition like that. If I do the same over here, for instance, like that, but do add them to the set, so add to set, now I have extra beveling down here, and if I press the Shift W key, Control D, I can have here, for instance, a really sharp transition, and while these vertices do not belong to the set, they do not get beveled, since I have checked use bevel on set, and then I have a very smooth transition over here. So that way, with this procedural and with taking these pointers into account, you can create really interesting shapes. For instance, I don't want to have a hard transition over there. I can remove it from the set, and now it's much smoother. So W, or I can even delete it, and then it's really flat, of course, like that. Control Z to undo. So with it not belonging to the set, it's really smooth. And of course, if it doesn't belong to the set, then adjusting its weight doesn't really matter. So, and I could set it to, for instance, 1, and then if I do add it to the set, add to set, now it becomes really sharp, and then the weight value is important, just like that. And round level of 4 may be a bit harsh, so round level of 2 may suffice. So this is what I wanted to share with you in this video. If you use the one axis mesh fusion assembly, that you can edit that polygon. And if you check enable vertex bevel and use vert bevel weights and use the bevel on set, that you can have vertices that belong to that set and they will get beveled, and you can have vertices that do not belong to the set, they will not get beveled, and the ones that have been beveled, you can adjust their weights with the vertex map weight tool, just like that. And that way, instead of creating this geometry manually with this procedural set, it becomes really easy to manipulate it through that polygon. And I've shown you it's no problem to make an n-gon out of it, but it's best that if you do a loop slice or something, which is now not possible, but if I do, for instance, Shift C and do that I can do, I create an extra edge, and it's best to actually not backspace, because if I backspace then I delete everything, so Control Z, but Shift backspace to keep the vertices. And in vertex mode, again, if I do a bevel, select the selection set bevel on, those newly created vertices do not belong to that set. And of course I can add them if I want to. I can scale them just like that. So if I scale them out, now I probably want to do them, to add them to the set, and then adjust their weights. Control D, just like that. And I've already mentioned that, but I've experienced that when you add a vertex merge node after the vertex bevel with a very short distance, like 1 that you can also avoid certain problems when beveling. So this is what I wanted to share with you. I hope you found it useful. Bye for now.